The Coast Guard takes on the rugged terrain of the Olympic Mountains when two hikers take a 50-foot drop.
They found him unconscious, and he's in and out. He's vomiting blood. River's going down.
He's working in terrain that's near vertical. So he moves the wrong way, he falls.
Station Cape Disappointment joins the rescue effort when a fishing vessel loses power and drifts into the darkness.
Finding a boat at night unlit is going to be interesting.
That small of a boat, even like a 6-foot wave can come over, knock one of the guys off the boat.
And a cargo ship churns in massive swells as Coast Guard rescuers attempt to save a badly injured crewman.
That was a big old wave coming over. Yes.
How are we going to execute this now, knowing the boat can move that much?
As far as going down, just kind of watch what the wind's going to do.
High peaks and tumultuous waters make Cape Disappointment and the Pacific Northwest one of the most hazardous environments in North America. At the heart of it all is the Columbia River Bar. This deadly area has taken countless vessels and claimed hundreds of lives. In the air and on the sea, brave men and women of the U.S. Coast Guard risk their own safety so that others may live. In a place known as the Graveyard of the Pacific.
Lieutenant Commander Josh Nelson, MH-60 Tango pilot at Air Station Astoria. On Wednesday, August 7th, we're assigned to go up and do an ATON mission, which was to place a light on Class Rock up in Washington. It was myself and Lieutenant Commander Leary, along with 2 flight mechanics. The rock took about 45 minutes, and we thought, job well done. Now let's go get some lunch and head home.
Commander, hey, this is D-13. Just a short time ago, we got a request to medivac a 19-year-old who's injured up in Olympic National Park. He's at 3,000 to 4,000 feet, was unconscious. He regained consciousness some time ago, but he is vomiting blood.
Lieutenant Commander Dan Leary, Jayhawk Aircraft Commander, Sector Columbia River. Sector Puget Sound calls us and says, hey, there's a SAR case in the Olympic Mountains, about 30 miles south of Port Angeles. Air Station Port Angeles has 3 H-65s. The H-65 is a great airframe, does a lot of phenomenal things, but it is power limited at higher altitudes. So I tell Sector, hey, give me the position, we'll go there right now, send a H-65 with a rescue swimmer, and we'll meet him there. So I talked to the H-65 aircraft commander, and we agreed to land about a mile to the south in a dry riverbed.
Tail's on deck, right man's on deck.
He gives us his rescue swimmer, Petty Officer Nate Newberg.
1-8 for the 2-9, we have Newberg, and we'll be lifting to here in about 2 minutes. Roger that.
We flew up through the mountains up to the spot, and it took a little bit of time to pick up the hikers' 406E perb, which is like an emergency beacon giving off an emergency signal. And we're able to fly, as we pick up that signal, to a field where we see a tent.
Come on in over the trees in a high hope and we'll take a look. Newberg, you up? Yes, sir. What's this guy's condition? All I know is that he fell about 50 feet. They found him unconscious, and he's in and out. He's vomiting blood. Okay. Down here, I think is where they're at, right? Right beneath us? There's a blue spread out tent. That was part of the ground park. Yeah, that's where the people were at.
I am Nathan Newberg, an aviation survival technician, 3rd class here at Air Station Port Angeles.
Clear easy down, got about 10 feet at the tail wheel.
A 6D landed, and one of the flight mechanics and myself got out and proceeded right over to where the people were at the tree line. And I thought, hey, this is gonna be pretty easy. They're right there, we'll just package them up and put them in the plane and go home.
6518, rescue swimmer, go ahead.
While we're sitting here talking about where we're gonna take this person, we get a call on our radio from the swimmer saying this is not where this person is.
The position that this guy is at is on a cliff face on the west side of the river. This is the party that he was with.
The
The people on the ground had been up there hiking, and they had charted out their location and where they estimated he had fallen, and they gave that to us. Invaluable, because we were able to look at this chart, and we looked and saw where they thought he had fallen and realized we were only about a mile to a mile and a half north of that location.
All right, so lift up, come back the other way, Josh, and then we'll just go straight ahead till we see him. Once we hit the river, we've gone too far. Okay, sounds good.
So we went ahead, we got our rescue swimmer, we got the flight mech, we took off, and we slowly, at about the tree level, followed out the path where they had come back up from the spot.
We need to draw a straight line from those fields.
And as I was in a right-hand orbit, I looked down and I saw someone had placed a red and a blue blanket out on the rocks. Now this was not where the survivor was, but it was close enough, and they figured it would get our attention, and it did.
All right, this is going to be a harness deployment of the swimmer down to the deck from 150 feet.
As I'm sitting in the door, waiting to go down, just looking out, seeing nothing but jagged rocks at the bottom, not the normal hoisting platform that we see when we hoist the water or down to a boat.
Let's take complete, and swimmer going down. Swimmer's going down.
I get down, get some stable footing, and then send the hook back up, and I call for the litter, which is the rescue device that I'm going to use for this particular rescue.
And litter's going down.
We sent a litter down to him and went into an orbit, waiting to see how long it's going to take for him to package up the survivor.
Litter's on deck. Roger. I'm going to transition ahead here. We're on the right, coming up.
When I had the litter and the rest of my gear and the helicopter had departed to orbit, I made my way over to the guy that we saw in the riverbed. He said, "We're up maybe half a mile up this hill, and it's steep." So I just was looking up and thinking, wow, how are we gonna do this? All the gear that I wasn't gonna need right away, I took that off, left it at the riverbed, and the two of us just kind of drugged that litter and my med kit, and the litter would snag on every branch, every little twig. It was just anything you could do to get that gear up there.
Go ahead, swimmer. We're climbing a pretty steep slope right now just to get the gear up to the patient. Roger that.
When I made it up to the survivor, I kind of did just a quick look at what I was dealing with for him. So when I found out that he had fallen the night before and then spent the whole night on the side of the mountain there, that was a big eye-opener and even more of a reason to get this guy out of there.
We are about to bring the packaged patient down to the river. We also have a second patient who took the same fall as the first. Injuries are not as bad, but I would like to take him to the hospital for checkout as well. And swimmer 29, do we need a second litter, or will the second guy be a basket? No, patient number 2 will be a basket.
All we see is trees, but what we don't know is he's working in terrain that's near vertical. So he moves the wrong way, he falls, all right? And he's had to package someone in a litter and then move them through this terrain half a mile away.
Swimmer 29, how are we looking? No ETA, we're about a quarter of the way down. Roger that, we're standing by. Go ahead, swimmer. We're climbing a pretty steep slope right now just to get the gear up to the patient.
We received a call for an injured hiker out in the Olympic National Park. This hiker had fallen and he was knocked unconscious, and then when he woke up, he was vomiting blood. Definitely a life-threatening injury that you want to get him out of there and to hire medical care quickly.
We are about to bring the packaged patient down to the river. We also have a second patient who took the same fall as the first. Injuries are not as bad, but I would like to take him to the hospital for checkout as well.
It was a lot easier to climb up and grab onto things than it was to go down. Everything was sliding, rocks were coming loose underneath your feet. The survivor would get a little bit freaked out, and at times we'd have to roll the litter over so that he could vomit over the side.
Yes, 29er, we are awaiting word from the rescue swimmer to commence the hoist, but we will be returning to Port Angeles once we have all 3 of them on board.
He's working in terrain that's near vertical. This is the type of terrain that we put the rescue swimmer in and tell him to not only survive, but thrive, make the mission happen. And that's exactly what Nate's doing. He's making this happen for us.
2-9, how are you guys doing down there? We're about 30 feet from the river. Roger that. We'll come into a hover at this time, then you give us a vector.
Dave says, I'm 30 feet from the river. So we come into a hover and we're ready to hoist him. It takes him another hour to move those 30 feet. That's how inhospitable this terrain is.
Yeah, see him down there. See him? Yeah. 2-9, I am at your 1 o'clock. Roger, got you. You 1 o'clock. Ready for the basket hoist for the first survivor. Be in the hoist. Roger, fast is going down. Fast is going down. Fast is on deck, please. Swimmer is pulling the basket to the hoisting area. Survivor is getting inside the basket. I have ready for pickup. Here, take the load. Taking the load. Fast is clear of the deck. Airline still on deck. Fast is just below cabin door. Here to take the basket inside the cabin. Bring the basket inside the cabin. Basket's inside cabin. Survivor's getting out of the basket. Hoist complete. Welcome aboard. Ready for one litter recovery of the survivor from 150 feet. Yes, begin hoist. Roger. Litter's coming up. Yeah, take them up a little high. I'll get a seat. Litter's halfway up. Trailing still on deck. Roger. Litter's all the way up. Litter's coming inside the cabin. And bringing the litter inside the cabin. Try not to bang him around too much. Litter's inside the cabin. Swimmer, are you ready for pickup? Ready for pickup. Swimmer's coming up. Swimmer's at cabin door. Bringing swimmer inside cabin. Swimmer's disconnected from hoist hook and hoist complete.
After I got hoisted up, I just continued care on the way and waited for our 15-20-minute transport from the middle of the park back to Port Angeles.
We really had to work for this one, didn't we? Yes, sir. Nate, you back with us? Yes, sir. Outstanding job. Listen, do you want 2 ambulances or 1 ambulance at the air station? Just one would be fine, sir.
So we take them to Port Angeles. We hand them off to Port Angeles Fire Department, and off they go to the local hospital for a higher level of care.
This was a very unique case where we were actually working directly with another air station, working together to evacuate patients. It all went how it would have if we were just working for Air Station Astoria. So it was one big Coast Guard team that got this rescue done.
I'm Clay McMullen. I'm a sophomore at Duke University. I was on a trip with the National Outdoor Leadership School, or NOLS, with about 15 other students in Olympic National Park. I knew we were in for a long day, just because of the distance we were trying to hike, but I was excited. The terrain was pretty gnarly, so we knew we would be off trail all day. We decided to kind of just crawl across on this very steep face, which in hindsight was a bad idea. The people we were with said it looked like the ground just disappeared from underneath our feet. I tumbled down the mountain, and at some point my head hit either a rock, a branch, or a tree trunk, and I was knocked unconscious. I had cuts and bruises literally all over my body, and some of them were very severe. I was bleeding profusely, and I was vomiting blood. I knew that I wasn't going to be able to walk. It was probably the toughest thing I've ever been through, because I really didn't know what was wrong with me, and I was very afraid.
Bringing the litter inside the cabin.
But I knew I was going to make it when I heard the helicopters overhead. It was an emotional moment for me. I would like to thank the Coast Guard for saving my life. They were the only helicopter that was willing to lower down into that ravine, and they did that for me, which I am eternally grateful for.
We're preparing to get underway and do our morning bar report, and it's to keep people safe who don't know any better, that don't know they're putting themselves in harm's way.
How big is the wave? Yeah, probably at least 12, right?
You're talking about a couple $2 billion worth of commerce a year flows across this water, so it's not taken lightly. Lieutenant Scott McGrew, stationed Cape Disappointment. It's just before first light here. It's about 6:30, and we're preparing to get underway and do our morning bar report. We're going to go out and assess the conditions, pass that bar report on to our watchstander, and let all the mariners know who may potentially be trying to cross the bar this morning what the conditions are and what restrictions we'll have in place for recreational vessels.
All right, coming up. All right.
There's two users of our bar reports in the community. One is the recreational fishermen. Then the second big user is the commercial fishermen who are gonna cross the bar in these types of conditions. You also have the Columbia River bar pilots. They're bringing 700-800-foot ships across what they consider one of the most dangerous bodies of water in the world.
Washington, you know what the freeboard of that buoy number 9 is? It's like 18 feet, right? So when you see like 2/3 of it gone, how big is the wave? Yeah, probably at least 12, right?
If the bar conditions have gotten to a point where we don't think it's safe for us to even be out there, we can go ahead and make a recommendation to the captain of the port to close the waterway completely. You're talking about a couple $2 billion worth of commerce a year flows across this water, so it's not taken lightly.
Cape 07, Roger, updated bar report as follows. Main channel, 10 to 12, occasional 14.
Columbia River Bar, it's just such a large scale, and the seas get so big, the current gets so strong that no one is going to try to cross this when it's bad out. That's just one of the realities of the Columbia River versus some of the other smaller bars on the West Coast. That's really a big part of why we're out there.
United States Coast Guard Sector Columbia River. Coast Guard received a report of a 39-foot black and white fishing vessel who has lost power and is dead and adrift. Any vessels transiting the area are requested to keep a sharp lookout.
Fishing vessel Cuban. Yep. All right. That was Kate. Just wanted to know some details. Petty Officer Dominic Sanchez, and there is a fishing vessel that is disabled, loss of power. There's an E-perb on board the vessel, and we were able to get a position.
All right, gentlemen, at some point they have lost power. We're gonna go out, see if we can locate this vessel. 47 motor lifeboat can come out, find this morning, take them to home, bring them in.
Good, yeah.
No lights, no radio. It's a big navigational hazard to a lot of people if that boat is dark.
Ready for takeoff. Ready for takeoff.
No other vessels can see it. So there's a danger of them being hit by another vessel, them hitting another vessel.
All right, guys, finding a boat at night unlit is going to be interesting. The radar's not showing anything out here.
What's that out at 1 o'clock, maybe about 2 or 3 miles out? I mean, it's pretty regular. Looks like it's going to be a buoy.
Lieutenant Josh Nelson, Sector Columbia River. We get on scene, we're looking around, we don't see anything.
All right, Ty, if you want to call back to the command center, let them know that we went to the E-perb position. There was nothing there.
Roger. Yeah, sector from the 6035. You guys can go ahead and jot us up a search pattern. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, I'm ASC3 Ty Gansel, rescue swimmer here at Air Station Astoria, Oregon. The vessel, if they're close to the Columbia River bar, that's not a very good place to be. That small of a boat, even like a 6-foot wave can come over, knock one of the guys off the boat.
6035 sector, Roger, have a parallel search for you.
We talked to the command center. They developed a search action plan for us. We put that into our onboard navigation system.
First turn was
right.
All right, Connor, I'm gonna catch you up real quick. We're gonna roll because the helo guy don't see didn't find anything. Plan on towing this guy back, but we're gonna find him first. So I got any questions? All right, let's roll it out.
I'm Petty Officer Dan Snyder from Coast Guard Station Cape Disappointment. We took the 47-foot motor lifeboat out today. We ran with a 4-man crew.
Sector Columbia River. We're clear of the bar, approximately 37 mics from on scene.
Generally, every case kind of starts off with bits and pieces of information. We like to have a lot more than what we started out with today.
Once we get out there, we get close. If they still don't have any updates on the helo, we'll just get out there, hit the blue light, light ourselves up, try to draw a flare. Yeah.
It's got to have seemed like he's been out here for days, just drifting around at night.
He's been drifting for the better part of probably 3 or 4 hours now, you know?
About 3 hours without power probably feels like 3 days without power. They don't know if Coast Guard's looking for them, if the Coast Guard's gonna find them.
There's a small contact being on radar at about 7 miles. That could be the guy, I guess.
This is is actually somewhat promising.
Yeah. Getting pretty frequent hits, or is it pretty sporadic?
Sweet.
We did get EPIRB hit and a needle swing, and as we're heading that way, the signal's getting stronger.
We've got to be almost right over them, I would think.
What's this down here to the left? Is there a buoy down here?
I was on the goggles, and as we begin a left-hand turn to follow that needle, out of the corner of my eye, I see something that's reflecting off the water.
Right down there is a 9 o'clock, half mile.
Mark.
It's almost impossible to see them. The only thing I'm seeing is our reflection off of them.
Good eyes, man.
Luckily that we just happened to be looking in the right spot at the right time when our anti-collision lights went off, that we got a reflection off the glass.
The sector from the 6035, we have located the vessel. The sector from the 6035, we have located the vessel, and request to know if the Cape is underway or not.
6035, roger, Cape is underway.
I'm Fireman Connor Mercer, Station Cape Disappointment. There was a 39-foot fishing vessel dead in the water. It had no location. They had no communication with us. The helo was on scene. They had located the vessel. They gave us a location.
He's gonna be off the starboard side here. There he is, got him. Fishing vessel Cuban, U.S. Coast Guard off your port side.
I believe initially we got on scene that we woke them up because even with the helo overboard, there was nobody on deck. We had to call them on the loud hailer.
Hey, Captain, we're gonna pass you a radio here. In a second here, we're gonna make an approach up to the bow. My crew's gonna pass you a tow line.
Drop. Don't worry, from the 35, anything you gotta need from us?
3548, negative, I think we're good. Appreciate the help in the spot.
Sounds good, we're gonna RGP at this time.
3548, we're all set. All right, start set up, stern tow.
This fishing vessel looks a little rough. It's a lot older than we had thought. We realized it wasn't going to be as easy as we thought, just getting it in.
Hey, Captain, for your vessel up forward there, is that center post of your anchor at the only attachment you have up forward?
Yes, it is.
We couldn't just, come alongside, put them in a stern tow and go on our way. We had to figure out a way to do it.
Heads up on deck. Hang on to that red ball. Take it in.
We realized we were going to have to go off a wooden post off the front.
All right, clear the bow. Been out of control. 150 on deck.
All right.
How's the speed? He's good. Petty Officer Wes Hall. You never take a tow for granted. It's one thing I've learned quite a while ago, is you never let your guard down.
Line to the water. 10 to line, starboard side.
An anchor post was rotten, and within 10 minutes, the entire fixture broke off the deck and fell in the water. So we had to go back alongside with the master and talk for another 10 minutes to figure out what we thought was the best way to tow the vessel.
You got these 2 metal plates on the port and starboard side. Do it. Give him all the slack he needs.
Eventually came up with putting a skiff hook onto the front of their boat.
Yes, sir. How's that look?
It looks good at this speed.
Okay.
And it ended up working. It did impact the mission, though. We had to go quite a bit slower on our way back in.
Just take our time with it.
All we can do at this point.
Our next step now is we're just going to get up to the bar. Unfortunately, we're going to meet it right on max ebb. We're only making 4 knots, so with the ebb around 3, we're only going to have a knot of ground speed coming in. I have to stay offshore and let the ebb slacken some, and then when conditions improve, we'll try to cross then.
Max ebb really stopped our boat on transit on the bar. We ended up spending a good 2 hours not going anywhere on the bar, waiting for the tide to shift around.
We're on our way now for about 9 hours. Fortunately, the connection held up well and the boat's doing good. It's pretty nice on the bar. The sun came out, the clouds opened up for once. I guess to give us a little sunny end of our voyage. Let's go ahead and start breaking out fenders and lines, starboard side.
Coming in, we get ready to bring alongside and shorten tow. It's always an excitement for the crew. We all know how close we are to home, but we still know we have a lot of work to do and we have to get it done.
Sir, what I want you to do is take this around that rigging arm you got right there. Yep.
Sidney Mark Chambers, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The night went great until about 2:30. We lost electronics. We had one bilge pump working off the generator until the generator ran out of gas. Wasn't designed to run that long.
Well, your EPIRB works.
They say not to panic, but your first instinct is to panic. I was worried about sinking the boat because of how much water was actually coming on. We wouldn't have lasted very long in this water.
So you guys just moving this boat? Yeah, I was first gonna run the boat for 2 seasons.
It's definitely dangerous. In Newport, where I fish, we've had 3 boats go down this year. I appreciate the Coast Guard for everything you guys do, how quick a response, how professional you guys are.
Hey, Mercer, we're gonna go up there, brother.
The fishing industry wouldn't be a fishing industry without them. There'd be a lot of dead friends of mine.
Thanks to Coast Guard. Coast Guard does their job. They do it very well and professional. That's for real.
That's why we all joined the service, is to go out there and save these guys. In total, this mission took approximately 11 hours. We went out there, we did it, everyone was safe, and we're back here now. We're ready to eat. MK2 Wesley Hall, Station Cape Disappointment. Today we're down here at Sand Lake, right on the coast of the Pacific. It's a giant sand dune area. We get to come down here on our side-by-sides and just go play.
Port City, Old City.
Fireman Anthony Maringolo, Coast Guard Station Cape Disappointment. For riding a Can-Am at 70 miles an hour across the sand dune is exciting. Little schoolgirl squeals, if you will, aren't going to be something that you're thinking about, you're kind of just doing.
Where do we go?
It's pretty unique. Grew up in New York and we really didn't have anything like this at our disposal. To have the sand and the cliffs, you know, right up into the water. It's amazing, and I think honestly, being in the Coast Guard who work on the coast, it's something we take for granted. You know, oh, it's just the Columbia River. Oh, that's just the Pacific Ocean. But it's not. It's really breathtaking and it's amazing.
Both point out different areas to go. It's almost like you're on board a boat. It's kind of funny, you got like the coxswain and the lookout.
This is big. If I can't trust somebody that I work with, the mission can't get done, plain and simple. Petty Officer Hall is definitely somebody that I look up to and somebody that I trust. So coming out here and having him drive me around at 70 miles an hour, it's pretty important to trust him. Picking up speed going towards the jump, every fiber of your being is screaming no, but you're not exactly driving, so you're kind of just hanging on for the ride.
Oh, God. We got one jump in.
Getting to come down here today definitely recharges your batteries, gives you a chance to go blow off some steam and just have some fun, tear it up.
We put a lot into what we do, and we do it with a full heart. Go out for a case, whether it's just a routine tow, we're saving a life, we're bringing somebody home, and that could weigh heavily on somebody's mind. If you have an outlet, not only something you can do by yourself, but something that you can do with a friend of yours from work, kind of gives you that breath of fresh air, and nevertheless, you know, the scenery is beautiful.
Do that again.
So we're launching on a medevac for a gentleman that fell on a motor vessel with possible head and neck injuries.
Starting to show up basically right where we expected him to be.
When you start hearing head trauma and chest trauma without being able to see the person, you immediately start prepping mentally for the worst.
That was a big old wave coming over.
We were surprised that we were looking at 20 to 30-foot seas. We knew that bad weather was moving in.
As far as going down, kind of watch what the wind's going to do.
All right, you got one big swell coming up here in about 10 seconds.
All right, so we got 2 people stranded on Sand Island. We're gonna go over there, see if we can get in there. We're at a really low tide.
BM1, Matt Fedorowicz. We got a report of 2 individuals stranded on Sand Island.
So we'll get in there as close as we can, and if we could send somebody over in a canoe.
I guess they were out there crabbing. The tide ran out on them, and the boat wound up on the beach.
You have paddles in there? Yeah. Okay. Just put it across right here. Put it sideways across.
This case was a little bit different because with the tide pretty much slack low, the 25 wasn't able to breach on the sand, so we went ahead and brought the canoe. That looks good. Ratchet right down there. It was nearing sunset. If we can't get these guys off right away, they'll be in the dark, stuck on this island for, who knows how long. Gate 556 underway. We got our canoe on board. We're headed out to Sand Island right now.
All right, coming up.
We wanted to get out there, get them off the island while we still had daylight we could see. So the canoe was just the quickest, easiest way to do it.
Let me know if it starts moving around.
You think of the Coast Guard, you think of $1 million assets. You don't really think of a Coast Guard asset pulling up and just deploying a canoe.
Whatever works.
It's pretty sick.
Coming down, right here.
They're on the island over here.
2 guys. Okay.
I don't want to get too close to that island.
All right, it's pretty shallow in here.
So let us know when you want to toss this bad boy over, B1.
All right, go ahead.
Who's going? I'm going. You're going? Yeah. Okay. There we go. Good? Yep.
When it came time to volunteer to who was going to actually go out there on a canoe and paddle to the island, Bjorklund was the first one to raise his hand. See then Bjorklund out to sea. Godspeed, Bjorklund. Lean back.
All set?
Yeah, let's go.
All righty. Good luck.
Thank you. When I joined the Coast Guard, canoe rescue was definitely not on the top of the list of things that I thought I was going to be doing.
She's going to get all the way from the beach and then roll into the water.
They'll just flop out.
Yeah. It's just comical when one guy paddling a canoe in for a SAR case. You just had to laugh at it.
You got to the island, and once you started putting the people on, I noticed that they were older and not as mobile as we thought they would be.
We have a boat full of able-bodied seamen ready to help you out of the boat, sir.
Just watch out for the buoy. If you just want to come alongside, we'll grab you. All right, got him alongside.
Just got to slide your butt right over.
Yeah. Cape 827, we have both persons on board.
827 Cape, roger.
Coming up.
I just said, God, you're here.
Yeah.
In the Pacific Northwest, with it getting chilly in the evening, the temperature really drops after the sun goes down. Who knows if they would have been able to survive the night out there. At the end of the day, this rescue's at 2 lives saved, and it's always a good feeling knowing that these 2 people can be able to go home to their families.
That's only the second canoe I've ever been in.
You gotta be.
And the first one I've been, I tipped it over.
Just the fact that we were able to help the guys get off the island, knowing that they didn't have to spend the night there with absolutely no resources is a good feeling.
Grab that life jacket for me, sir. Oh, certainly there. Let me get over here.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, after we dropped the people off, we were just talking about how it was such a great idea to bring the canoe.
You guys have a good one. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, you
No problem. I mean, we got people running the ground all the time around here, so might use it again.
Crew report ready for taxi. The rescue swimmers on board. I'm ready for a radio check in Radio 4.
My name is Lieutenant Commander Jim Harkins, Aeronautical Engineering Officer, Air Station Astoria.
I'm on board. Before takeoff, checklist crew report ready for takeoff. And everything is clear.
So we're launching on a medevac for a gentleman that fell on a motor vessel with possible head and neck injuries. The flight surgeon has determined that the guy needs to come off the boat as soon as possible. The vessel is located about 20 miles west of Grace Harbor, which is just about a 30-minute flight to the northwest of here.
Risk versus gain, guys. So obviously it's a SAR case. We all heard what the flight surgeon had to say about the gain. They're on their way to Korea. You probably should get somewhere before then. But so the risk obviously meets the gain in this situation.
One of the big fears of somebody falling and injuring their head really bad is that there could be some brain swelling. The ship was on its way to Korea, so it's just a cautious thing to pull him off now rather than trying to deal with that when he's 600 miles offshore.
All right, got the jetty identified on radar. Looking to pick it up visually.
There's a storm coming in this weekend. Visibility's down to between a half mile to 2 miles. The ceilings are down to about 200, 300 feet.
Ooh, that looks like some nice rollers there, huh? Yeah. I'll try to climb up a little bit, see if we can do 250. Roger that.
We're flying out through the harbor entrance, and we already noted the sea swell was pretty high, and we were surprised that we were looking at 20 to 30-foot seas. We knew that bad weather was moving in.
Good engine on radar. Yep, there's something right next to my little X. He's starting to show up basically right where we expected him to be. So when you get there, what's likely harness deployment of the swimmer, and just kind of let you go down there and evaluate. I think for the weather and the conditions, the basket is going to be safer than putting the guys out there and hauling them off that boat. If he does present with conditions of back injury, we can throw him on a backboard. Sounds good to me. Insight, about 1 o'clock on the horizon. Yeah. Insight. Insight, about 1 o'clock on the horizon.
There's an individual on a freighter that's outbound from Grays Harbor who fell down some stairs. He needs medical assistance. The flight surgeon said yes, he needs to get off the boat to a medical facility.
So we're doing a harness to... Whoa, that's a good one. Look at that. Holy cow. She just took a nice big wave coming over the dock. Well, you see the water come running down.
The vessel's a big freighter, and right before we started moving in for the hoist, the vessel took a swell over the bow, and it crashed over and spilled about halfway down the vessel.
So it was a big old wave coming over. Yes. Andy, that's something to keep an eye on, okay? Roger, will do, sir.
Seeing that really heightened my senses, saying, okay, well, we might run into this in the middle of a hoist.
Sitting here watching the scale on the side of the boat as it's appearing and disappearing. About a 2-meter spread, so the boat's kind of going up and down quite a bit.
We weren't expecting a 600-foot vessel to move around as much, so we actually had to take a step back and say, how are we going to execute this now, knowing the boat can move that much?
Yeah, I tell you what, once I tug in, I'm just going to keep relative position of the boat, and it's a slow enough swell that I think we can keep up with it. And I'll try to give you swell calls as we go.
The bigger the waves, the more likely the vessel's going to go up and down, but the pilot can establish a good visual reference with the vessel. Then as the vessel goes up and down, he can go up and down with the vessel, and that makes my job seem like, you know, nothing's moving at all.
I wonder if the guy in the shorts is our guy.
No, probably the guy with the backpack.
Yeah, this guy's the backpack.
He was walking on his own power, he wasn't being assisted, so we're like, well, that's great, the guy's under his own power, but he could have had cracked or broken anything, and still moving around just fine. So we're gonna put the rescue swimmer on the vessel so he could assess the patient, then go from there.
Be a harness deployment of rescue swimmer to those 2 yellow hatches, no trailer line.
Who's ready?
Making noise.
Roger, turn the hoist, please swim out for load check. As swimmer's going down, just kind of watching what the wind's gonna do.
All right, you got one big swell coming up here in about 10 seconds. Roger that.
We were probably about 2 to 3 minutes between some really bigger waves, which were maybe 30-foot seas. My co-pilot Dave would call it out, just so the flight mag is aware that, hey, we got a really big swell coming.
He's forward and right. He's almost right over the top of the railing.
The bow can really drop out, the bow can rise a lot.
And swimmer's over the deck.
If the flight mag's not prepared, you can snag the device on the deck, or you could accidentally lift the device off the deck if you don't give it enough slack.
And swimmer's on deck. Disconnecting. Swimmer's disconnected. Swimmer's okay. Retrieving the hook.
When you start hearing head trauma and chest trauma without being able to see the person, you immediately start prepping mentally for the worst.
Complete rescue check support 2.
Roger. Get the basket ready.
Big swell coming up right here. Might just let the swimmer know there's a big swell. Might take some water.
So the bow of the boat was, rising high enough that it was able to just come off the wave and just really dip into the water. And so there was some concern there that he could possibly get washed away by a big wave.
All right, you might have a big one coming up here in about 10, 15 seconds. We'll see where it goes.
Roger, I'll stand by.
Here comes the pitch up. Yeah, it looks like it broke away. Yeah, just continue.
Roger. Fastest out the cabin door. Fastest out the cabin door. Going down. Good position, sir.
Alex rigged the basket right away, and Andy's on deck. He's getting the patient inside the basket.
Swimmer's getting the survivor in the basket. Waiting for pickup signal.
And he'll give us the thumbs up that he's ready for a pickup.
All right, ready for pickup signal. Try and take the load. Taking the load. Easy left.
You are clear out to the left.
Basket's clear of the deck.
And we'll move into position to recover the basket with the least amount of swing possible.
Basket's just below the aircraft.
He was conscious, he was alert, he wasn't panicked, he seemed Very calm for just being hoisted off of a freighter in 16-foot seas.
Looks to be in pretty good shape. Guys, okay with getting out of the basket, so.
Sometimes people kind of get all worried looking and their eyes get really big and kind of start looking around like all worried.
Let's get Andy off of there and press on.
Roger.
This guy was just, very cool and relaxed, and so from there we just rolled right into picking Andy back up.
Hook's going down. And swimmers at the hook. Start taking the load. Taking the load.
Just put it down, he hooked up, went right to him, hooked him up, and pulled him up.
Swimmers to the cabin door. And swimmers in the cabin.
Thank you, Alex. Good job.
Same to you, sir. Nice and smooth.
As soon as he got in, then he started assessing the patient, because sometimes even if the person looks okay, they might be going into shock, or they could be going into some other medical issue that unless you kind of look at him and take his vitals, you don't know until you check.
He's looking pretty good, Andy.
Yeah. He's got some different swelling on his left side of his forehead, some external signs of injury.
But I guess there's always that level of uncertainty.
Oh, yeah.
Sector Columbia River, Coast Guard Copter 6035. Be advised, we do have patient on board. We are en route at this time. We'll be back at Air Station in approximately 30 minutes.
Coast Guard Rescue 35 Roger, I copy. Be advised, we have medical personnel on hand. Over.
We met the EMS back here after the flight. We felt like that was the safest option considering the weather.
Thank you, gentlemen. Everybody did a great job.
It might kind of dark here. It was good SAR, as SAR goes. It was a worthy mission, I'll put it like that. It was a worthy mission.
Obviously, one of the best things about our job is helping people in need. In this case, we were able to go out, take somebody who suffered some severe injuries, bring him back to medical services so he can take the care that he needs. And that's always a kind of internally gratifying.
So what happened?
Some big wave coming very fast.
Is your neck hurting at all?
No, I don't. No.
No,
No, the chest.
Your chest hurts?
Uh-huh.
There is a relief there that, okay, the guy's going to be all right, at least right now. We'll get him to a hospital, we'll get him evaluated, and it feels great helping somebody out.